Well, after a long day of pooping through my neighbour's letterboxes, I like to come home, put my feet up, and see what's on telly. I wonder what's been happening in the world today.
A woman in Missouri has millions of dollars now in her pockets after suing Geico, the insurance company.
Well, that sounds boring.
She caught a sexually transmitted disease, STD.
Not my fault. At least I think. Where did you say she was from again?
After getting it on with a man inside of his damn car. She took Geico to court. An arbitrator ruled that sex inside the car, his car, quote, directly caused or directly contributed to the cause. The woman to contract HPV.
Well, firstly, that is the worst explanation of a news story I think I've ever heard. And secondly, if I actually interpreted what you just bumbled out there correctly, are you actually telling me that a woman had sex with a man in a car and because she caught an STD, she was able to sue the car insurance company for millions of dollars?
Yes, I am. You got it. Well done.
Well, surely if a woman can claim damages from the car insurance company because she's contracted an STI while having sex in the car, then I can claim damages from my neighbour's home insurance company after the time he came home to his house to find me with his wife and chopped my cock off. Now, if you think what I've just said is preposterous, you need to check out this story from the Irish Times, in which a burglar tried to sue a shopkeeper after breaking into his shop and then injuring his own scrotum on a shelf. Now, I don't know how you'd go about accidentally injuring your scrotum on a shelf. It's not something I've ever done before, but I cannot confirm or deny reports that he took his partner in crime's advice a little bit too literally when he knocked a shelf off the wall, and to cover his tracks, his partner told him to screw it back on. Now, I'll be honest, I fully support that woman for reasons that I will explain in a couple of minutes, but when I first heard this story, I was furious. I thought the cheek of that lady. Surely the car insurance company must feel like somebody's let their dog crap on their lawn, and then when they've stood in it and they're scraping it from their shoe, the dog owners come back and ask them to put it back where they found it. I have never seen a story that displays such barefaced cheek in my life, and here's what went down. A woman had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend had a car and an STD. But the boyfriend was very secretive, so didn't tell her. But one day she found out about his secret. She found out he had a car, but she didn't find out about the STD. One day he introduced her to the car and the STD at exactly the same time. After that encounter, she walked away with HPV and she was absolutely livid. She contacted her by then ex-boyfriend's car insurance company Geico and said that she was quite happy to settle for $1 million. Now Geico did what we'd all have probably done, and that's treated that claim with about as much respect as you would do to a flat earther's PhD thesis, and they completely ignored her. But the woman didn't want to let it go, so her and her boyfriend set up an arbitration meeting, which is kind of like what Judge Judy on TV does, only here there was no cameras. Now, without making this video about the law, of which I am absolutely not an expert, arbitration doesn't happen in a court, and an arbitrator isn't a judge. However, a pre-arbitration contract signed between the parties says that the arbitrator's decision will be upheld. And this is where the car insurance company made the mistake, because Geico was so confident that this injury happened so far outside of the normal use of the car that it would be laughable for any arbitrator to award in the woman's favour. And because they were so confident, they just decided not to go and defend themselves at the arbitration. But things didn't go to plan for Geico, as the arbitrator, for absolutely no reason that I can see whatsoever, decided to award the woman $5.2 million because, you know, why fucking not? Now, under normal circumstances, perhaps this ludicrous decision might be overturned on some sort of legal ground, I don't know, but Geico took this to the Missouri court and said, we don't agree with what the arbitrator has said, it's ridiculous. And the Missouri court said, well, stuff you. You had your chance to respond and you chose to ignore them, and now it's got to this point, you just have to live with the decision. Now, obviously, this story has been absolutely ludicrous, and there's no way that woman deserves a single penny of that money from the car insurance company, but I did say early on in the video that I actually was supporting her for some reason, and I'll tell you exactly why straight after this. Oh, that's better. Okay, here's why. I actually learnt something reviewing this case, and here's what I learnt. Number one, if you're going to have sex in a car, make sure you do it in somebody else's car and make sure that they have insurance. And secondly, I learnt about forced arbitration clauses. You see, when somebody takes out car insurance in the US, it's very common practice for them to find, hidden away in the fine print of what they sign, arbitration clauses. If the car owner then has an accident and decides to claim under insurance, and the insurance company don't quite see eye to eye with the car owner, the insurance company can refuse to pay. But the car owner has no right to take them to court. They have to go to an arbitration hearing. In these cases, the fees for the arbitrators, which could run into the tens of thousands of dollars, have to be split between the insurance company and the car owner. Very often these clauses indicate that there'll be an arbitration panel of 3 people, one at least selected by the insurance company and one selected by the car owner. Therefore, in these situations, when assessing what damages are due, there is always somebody on the arbitration panel with the car insurance company's best interests at heart. Therefore, even if somebody can afford to go to arbitration, chances are that the damages that they will receive will be nowhere near what they would have expected had the case been heard in front of a real judge in a real court. In fact, a 2021 American Association of Justice report did a little bit of data analysis and found out that literally more people climb Mount Everest in a year than have a successful outcome in a consumer arbitration case in the US. It really is a horrible little practice, and to see a car insurance company shafted by the same tool with which the car insurance industry loves to shaft other people brings a tear to my eye. So well done to that woman for sticking it to the car insurance companies, and hopefully with all that money she's earned, she can afford to have those seats cleaned. Meow.